How you going? Drew here from Shui Brewing. Today I'm going to be doing a yeast starter. So I've learned a few lessons from the last time I did a yeast starter, so I'm hoping this one turns out a bit better. So cheers for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the vid. So the yeast I'm using today, I've got in here, I've got this White Labs Dry English Ale yeast. According to these, you can slap these straight in the into the fermenter, or once you finish the brew. But I like to get a little starter going just to ensure that I get enough yeast cells to get this beer going. So the beer that I'm going to use this one on is going to be for a double IPA. So I'll get a video uploaded soon of the brew, and once it's finished, we'll show you the finished result. But yeah, I've been loving the liquids lately, so this should turn out well. So first thing I'm doing here is just waiting for the water to boil. So you can see I've just got the volume there. Whoop, it's just a bit over 2 litres. So that'll allow for any boil off in the wort, so that it finishes up around the 2 litre mark. I've also got the stir bar in there as well, so that'll help sterilise it while it's inside the flask, to make sure there's no nasties or anything left over when I chuck the yeast in. So I'll just let that boil away, and once it comes to the boil, we'll add the LME. All right, I'm happy with that at the moment. So that's starting to boil. I might just turn it down just for a sec. So what I've got here, I've got my 200 grams of LME. I've put that into this jug, so pouring jug. I've learned a few lessons from the last starter I did. So what I'll do is I'll just adjust the camera now to here, and what I'll do is I tip a bit of the water off. This makes it a bit easier getting it into the flask, so I just tip a bit of water off from that into there. Just chuck that back on the heat, and then I'll get something to just to stir it up. So this will be fine, just to mix it in. And then just adjust the camera back up. I've got a funnel. So the first time I tried to do one of these, I tried to use, I didn't have a funnel. And then when just to avoid boil over, just make sure you be careful, because the steam will build up. So maybe just take your time with this. The first time I didn't have a flask, so it was an absolute nightmare trying to get the light malt extract into here. So there we go. So that's all in there now. Just get rid of this. And then just using something, I use a chuck's cloth, or a tea towel or something like that, something that you can just get your hand around it. Obviously being careful, and just give that a swirl. Give it a good little mix around so that it's all mixed in. And now we'll just let that boil for 20 minutes. So what do we got? We got 20 past 11. So we'll come back in 20 minutes and we'll stop the boil. Alright, so we're pretty much halfway through the boil now, so we've got about another 10 minutes to go. It's looking good, so the colour's starting to darken up, and the level seems to be staying around that 2.2 mark, but hopefully once that boil stops, it should calm down a bit and come a bit closer to 2 litres. Okay, so time's up. Flick that off. Just let that settle down for a minute, and then I'm going to take it over to the sink and get some nice cold water onto it just to cool it down. Alright, so I've moved this into the sink now with a bit of water, and then I've added these. I've just got a couple of frozen water bottles that I'd like to chuck in, and then that just sort of maintains that nice cold temperature. So that'll help cool this down. and get it ready for when I need to chuck the yeast in. So surprisingly, this actually cools pretty quick, so it should only take about half an hour, and then I should be able to take this out. I'll also put something, I'm just going to get a little cover for the top there, just so I'll get plenty of bloody flies in this house, so I'll make sure nothing flies in there. Alright, so I've got the yeast starter now. It's all cooled down. I've taken the gravity reading. I managed to get 1035 or 36, so that's close enough to what I was trying to get. Slightly off the mark, but it's good enough. I was aiming for about 1040, so that's fine. Alright, now, so I've got the yeast ready. I've got the flask ready, and I've got it sitting in my temp controlled fridge. So what I'm going to do is first, it says on the packet to make sure you sanitize your scissors. So I've cleaned the scissors. I'll just give them a good dousing in spray. I've got the packet. I think even just a little bit on the packet won't hurt as well. So I've done that. I'll take the cover off that really quick. I've given this a good shake. I've actually had this packet out for probably an hour now, just to let it sort of reach room temperature, which it has, and then just cut the packet. Now I didn't get a flask, so I hope I don't regret this, and I hope it works all right. But I'm just gonna try and tip it straight in, nice and thick. I probably didn't shake it up enough, but nonetheless it's in there. Okay, all the yeast's in. I'm going to chuck this back on, and I'm just going to give this aerate the water bit with the yeast, mix it up, and then I'll just sort of try and counteract it a bit. It's still a bit lumpy. Give it a few seconds of shaking it. Make sure it's mixed in properly with a bit of air in it. And then next, just wait for that to stop stirring around a bit inside. I've just got to line it up, the stir bar on the plate, which is now lined up. Then I'll flip my stir plate on. So now that's it's all in there. I think the foam on top's just from me sort of agitating it a bit, so we'll come back maybe, I don't know, a couple of hours, leave it in the fridge, let it stir up a bit, come and see how it looks in a few hours. The packet reckons 5 to 15 hours is when it'll sort of start kicking off and start being active, so maybe we'll come back in 5 hours, come back tonight and have a look and make sure it's kicked off. Alright, so I've come back probably a bit later than I thought I would. It's probably been about 12 hours since I've looked at this, but yeah, it's spinning away and it seems to be producing a good little bit of activity on top there. So yeah, I'm going to go to bed now, and hopefully I'll wake up in the morning and this thing will be looking good. So see you later. Alright, so it's been another 9 hours since I've come back to the starter, and it's still looking good. Starting to get a bit of colour on the top there, like some trub and matter on top, growing on top there. So it's still spinning away and it's still very active. So it's probably been about, I don't know, 19 hours maybe now, nearly 20 in there. So I'm probably going to leave it for the rest of the day, so add another 10 or so hours on top of that, and we'll probably pitch it when it's been about 30 hours. So it's looking healthy, so I'm happy with that. It's been actually about probably 40 hours actually. I've just turned the stirrer off now, so it's actually looking like the yeast is multiplied and it's looking nice and thick in there. So probably just let that settle for a little while. Might tip a bit of that liquid off, to pour that away, and then I'll tip all that nice healthy yeast into new beer that I've just done. I'll do a separate video on the beer itself, so you guys can look that up. This is my double IPA, so jump on that and see how the beer turns out. Thanks for watching again, guys, and always tune in, and thanks for any subscribers or anyone who likes my videos. I really appreciate it. So cheers till next time. See ya.